move fast. Move diplomatically. Move wisely. Find a way to convince the President of America to please delay his actions for about 100 days. And then come home. And tell our security chiefs get rid of these terrorists within 90 days or resign. Now that, I'm sure, will sound familiar to those of you who have been following situation in Nigeria. There was a president, unfortunately, he's dead now, as Buhari, who issued such an order. Some of you will remember. Who called the service chief together and said, I give you 3 months. Get rid of all these Boko Haram people or resign. He's not around to tell you who gave him that advice. He ran with that advice, but he didn't follow it through. Because he gave the order as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But, and amid the security operatives moved fast. But 3 months went, and the work was not done. So I went to see him. It was in the news, so this time somehow the press got to know that I visited him. Of course, they were not there when we talked. And unfortunately, like I said, he's not alive now. Or else I would have asked you to go and ask him. Sir, why didn't you follow through? Because when 3 months passed and the work wasn't done, why didn't you proceed with your, are we going to call it threat? I won't tell you the details, but one thing came out of that meeting. Which would lead me to my next advice to our government. in case there's any of you who can get across to them. That when giving orders to the service chief this time round, we should make it clear to them that they are not only to eliminate the terrorists, they should eliminate their sponsors.
There you have it. For those of us that always say that the part of the problems that we have in this country are our spiritual leaders. Many of us will say that they don't talk. A lot of bad things will be happening, killing of Christians and all, but you hardly see or hear our pastors, big time pastors, talking about it. There you have it. There you have it. The truth is, many of them actually talk. Just that many do not publicize their speeches. If you listen to that video very well, you will hear that Pastor Adeboye actually visited Buhari, advised him, though the details of the conversation was not made public, but he actually advised him. And if you also listen very well if you go to the RCCG YouTube channel to watch the full message, he made mention of, he said something. You cannot command the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You can only advise. So you don't expect our pastors to command the president, who is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. They can only advise. So it is now left for the government to take the advice of these pastors or spiritual fathers, as the case may be. So that is it. But my point with the advice of Pastor Adeboye is that what happens after 90 days if the military, the chiefs, and all of that are unable to do something about it? What happens? It will mean that we'll have just 10 days to go for America to strike. That is, if we request for 100 days grace. So from where I stand, it sounds like an amateured advice. That is because it's not an ex-military staff personnel, so he might not know the right way to go. So he's speaking as a civilian. So if after 90 days the military or chief of staff and all the rest they are unable to do something about the insecurity, something that they couldn't do for the past how many years, will 100 days actually be enough to take care of the terrorists? Think about it. So the government need a proper strategy. If at all they must negotiate with President Trump, they need a proper strategy.